My heart, my money, my future, all devoured by a phantom love. She spun a web of dazzling promises, whispering dreams into my ear, then vanished with my inheritance and the shattered fragments of my trust. I believed I would marry was nothing but a ghost, his existence a cruel, calculated fiction, leaving me utterly adrift in a sea of devastating lies and a silence that screamed of betrayal. The very air in my lungs felt thin, each breath a struggle against the crushing weight of what had been lost, not just financially, but spiritually, emotionally. The vibrant hum of my Atlanta studio, usually a comforting backdrop to my creative chaos, felt muted, distant, swallowed by the deafening silence of a broken promise, a shattered dream. The aroma of freshly roasted coffee, a constant companion to my late-night design sessions, now tasted like ashes in my mouth, acrid and bitter. It was early 2023, and my life, at 35, had finally begun to settle into a rhythm of contented purpose and quiet ambition. As a graphic designer, my days were filled with the satisfying challenge of transforming abstract ideas into compelling visuals for a diverse range of clients, from sleek tech startups needing innovative branding to cozy local bakeries seeking whimsical logos. The rhythmic click of my mouse, a steady pulse in my creative world, now seemed to mock the frantic beat of my own anxious heart. The vibrant colors swirling on my multiple screens, these were the familiar anchors of my professional world, a world I had meticulously built with talent and dedication, brick by digital brick. Outside my studio window, the Atlanta skyline shimmered, a city of endless possibilities, its glass towers reflecting the optimism that had until recently filled my soul, a sense of boundless potential. 6 months prior, the world had softened for a moment, then deepened with a profound, quiet sorrow. My grandmother, God rest her soul, had passed away, leaving behind a legacy far richer than mere material wealth. In her passing, she had bequeathed to me a substantial inheritance of $800,000. It wasn't just money, it was a tangible embodiment of her lifelong frugality, her quiet wisdom, her unwavering belief in my potential, a testament to her enduring love. I remembered her soft, wrinkled hand in mine, the skin delicate as parchment, her touch a comforting anchor in a world that often felt chaotic. Her voice, raspy with age, yet clear with conviction, resonated with the weight of generations, whispering, "This is for your future, Michael. Build something good with it, something real, something that lasts." Her words, imbued with love and profound hope, were a sacred trust, a powerful impetus to honor her memory, to use her gift wisely, meaningfully. I had envisioned using the funds to finally purchase a small, character-filled brownstone in Inman Park, a vibrant, historic neighborhood I adored. Its tree-lined streets and Victorian architecture a stark contrast to the gleaming glass of Midtown. It was a place where creativity seemed to bloom on every corner, a community alive with art and individuality. This brownstone would be more than just a home. It would be a place to finally put down roots, to establish a tangible presence in a city I loved. Perhaps I mused it could even house a design collective, a collaborative space for emerging artists, a dream I had quietly harbored for years, a place where innovation could thrive, where young talents could find mentorship and a community. My life felt full, rich with personal and professional promise, a canvas awaiting its masterstroke, its vibrant completion. Then, a flicker on my screen, a new notification from a dating app, introduced me to Sophia Thorne, and she entered my meticulously ordered world like a splash of vibrant, unexpected color, promising not just love, but a future far grander than anything I had dared to dream. Her smile a potent, intoxicating brew that I eagerly, foolishly drank, oblivious to the poison hidden within its sparkling depths. The notification, a fleeting digital signal, would prove to be the most devastating harbinger of change my life had ever known. Sophia Thorne, 32, had captivated me from the moment her profile picture, a radiant smile framed by cascades of dark, glossy hair that seemed to catch every light, appeared on my screen. Her eyes, an intense, almost hypnotic shade of hazel, promised both intelligence and warmth. Her bio spoke of a passionate crypto investor, a visionary with a groundbreaking firm, and a soul eager for deep connection, a fascinating blend of intellectual prowess and emotional depth. Seeking a partner in adventure, a mind to challenge mine, and a heart to share dreams with, it read. a carefully crafted lure that resonated deeply with my own unspoken desires for a profound connection. I, a man whose life revolved around logic and visual communication, was drawn to the perceived intellectual thrill of cryptocurrency, an arena I understood little about, but which Sophia presented with such effortless confidence. Our first coffee date at a bustling cafe in Midtown, the aroma of roasted beans and warm pastries filling the air, the gentle clatter of cups and hushed conversations around us, had felt like destiny, like a scene from a romantic movie. The sun streamed through the large windows, casting a warm glow on her face as she spoke. She was charismatic, articulate, her hands gesturing gracefully as she described the intricate world of blockchain, decentralized finance, and a future where traditional banking was obsolete. Her eyes sparkled with an almost manic energy, a captivating intensity that made her seem utterly alive, her words painting vivid pictures of innovation and boundless wealth. Her laugh was a melodious chime that resonated deep within me, an intoxicating sound that made my heart flutter, stirring emotions I hadn't known I possessed. What truly set Sophia apart was her unparalleled ability to listen, truly listen. Her gaze was unwavering, her head tilted slightly as if to catch every nuance of my words. She made me feel utterly seen, completely understood, in a way no one ever had before. I found myself sharing my deepest dreams, my vision for the Inman Park brownstone, the design collective, my quiet aspirations for impact beyond commercial art. I confessed my unspoken fears, the subtle anxieties of a creative professional in a competitive city. And with a cautious vulnerability I rarely displayed, I spoke of the weight of my grandmother's inheritance and my fervent desire to honor it, to make it something real and lasting. She absorbed it all, her gaze unwavering, her responses insightful, supportive, as if she knew me better than I knew myself, offering validation and encouragement that felt like a balm to my soul. Our whirlwind romance unfolded like a carefully choreographed dance, each step a new layer of intimacy, each week deepening the illusion of a shared future. Dinners at exclusive restaurants I'd never dared to try alone, where the clinking of champagne glasses and soft jazz music formed the backdrop to our increasingly personal conversations. Late-night walks along the Beltline, the city lights shimmering like scattered diamonds, her hand warm and confident in mine, our fingers intertwining, a silent promise. She spoke of our future with a casual certainty that swept me off my feet. A shared life of intellectual curiosity, boundless adventure, and profound financial security. A life free from worry, free from the mundane. She wove tales of exotic travel, philanthropic endeavors, and a deep intellectual partnership that promised to elevate both our lives. Within 3 months, she was whispering about engagement, about a shared life, about building an empire together, her voice soft against my ear during a quiet evening spent on her penthouse balcony, the city lights twinkling beneath us. The diamond on her finger, a modest but elegant solitaire that caught the light, felt like a tangible promise, a beacon of our shared future, a symbol of eternal commitment. My heart, once guarded, once wary from past disappointments, opened completely, utterly consumed by her charm, by the intoxicating vision she painted for our lives, a future steeped in love and prosperity, a perfect, gleaming tapestry. I believed, truly believed, I had found my soulmate, my partner in every sense of the word, completely unaware that every tender word, every shared dream, every intimate confession was a meticulously crafted lie designed to plunder my inheritance, to steal my grandmother's legacy, to utterly ruin me, leaving me with nothing but ashes. The air around us, so filled with her perfume and promises, was in fact thick with the scent of an impending, devastating storm. Then came the pivot, subtle at first, then growing more insistent, more persuasive, woven seamlessly into the fabric of our blossoming love. Sophia's groundbreaking crypto investment firm, Quantum Ledger, became the central pillar of our conversations, increasingly dominating our shared time. She'd speak of cutting-edge algorithms, of exclusive opportunities hidden from the general public, of exponential returns that would make my $800,000 inheritance not just grow, but explode, securing our future beyond my wildest dreams, beyond anything I could have imagined for myself. The language she used was sophisticated, laden with technical jargon and market predictions that sounded incredibly compelling. even to my uninitiated ears. We were sitting on her plush sofa one evening, the city lights twinkling through her penthouse window, a vast, glittering expanse stretching out below us. The scent of her expensive perfume, a heady blend of rose and sandalwood, filled the air, intoxicating me, clouding my judgment. She held my hand, her thumb stroking my knuckles in a comforting, intimate gesture. Her gaze intense, brimming with what I believed was genuine excitement for our future, for the life we would build. "Michael, darling," she'd purred, her voice a soft, hypnotic melody. "Your grandmother's legacy is incredible, truly a blessing. But it's just sitting there in traditional markets, barely earning. Inflation, market fluctuations, it's a wasted opportunity. With Quantum Ledger, with my proprietary algorithms, we could turn that $800,000 to $5 million, even $10 million in a matter of months. Think of it, our brownstone paid off in full, no mortgage, just pure equity. A design collective for you, fully funded. A space where your creativity can truly flourish, where you can mentor the next generation of artists. A life of absolute freedom, of giving back to the community, of building something truly impactful, something lasting, just as your grandmother envisioned." She showed me elaborate spreadsheets, dazzling presentations filled with complex graphs depicting hockey stick growth and projected returns that defied belief, mock-ups of their sleek, futuristic trading platform. Everything was presented with an air of undeniable professionalism, each slide designed to erode doubt and instill fervent belief. The numbers, complex and seemingly legitimate, danced before my eyes, promising a future beyond anything I had ever imagined, a glittering mirage that beckoned me closer. She introduced me, virtually, to her team, a collection of professional-looking individuals on video calls, appearing from different global locations. There was a chief technology officer with a calm, intellectual demeanor who spoke of encryption and proprietary AI. A head of global trading who exuded confidence, detailing real-time market analyses. Their voices were confident, their explanations convincing, their presence lending an air of unimpeachable legitimacy to the entire operation. Each person, I would later discover, was another paid actor in her elaborate charade, a skilled performer in her twisted play, delivering their lines with practiced ease. My initial skepticism, a faint whisper of caution, a tiny voice in the back of my mind, was systematically silenced by her unwavering confidence, her meticulous details, her unwavering belief in us, in our shared destiny. I, a graphic designer by trade, was out of my depth in the world of high finance and cryptocurrency, making me all the more susceptible to her apparent expertise. The idea of honoring my grandmother's legacy by growing it exponentially, by transforming her prudent savings into a philanthropic force, a means to do profound good, became an irresistible narrative, a compelling story woven by Sophia with masterful skill. I rationalized my hesitation, telling myself that true love meant shared risk, shared dreams, a leap of faith for a grander future. The weight of my grandmother's trust pressed upon me, urging me to make the most of her gift, to be bold, to be brave, to take a chance that would amplify her enduring love into a powerful force for good. Slowly, painstakingly, Sophia eroded my caution, replacing it with a fervent, almost evangelical belief in her vision, in her genius, in her unwavering love for me. She spoke of her personal commitment, her sleepless nights dedicated to perfecting the algorithms for our future. By late 2023, after weeks of intense persuasion, of late-night calls filled with dazzling projections, of emotional manipulation disguised as shared intimacy, I made the call to my bank. My hands trembled slightly as I initiated the wire transfer, the digits of the account number blurring before my eyes, my breath catching in my throat. I was sending my entire $800,000 inheritance, the very last vestiges of my grandmother's material presence, the tangible representation of her love and trust, into the digital abyss of Quantum Ledger. A profound sense of vulnerability, mingled with exhilarating hope, washed over me. It was a silent prayer that this bold leap of faith would lead to the future we had so meticulously planned, utterly unaware that with that single click, I had handed her the key to my complete and utter ruin, to the destruction of my life, to the evaporation of my most sacred trust. The screen confirmed the transfer, and a cold dread, a premonition of irreversible change, settled deep within my bones. The emptiness in my bank account was quickly mirrored by the terrifying void in my life, a chilling symmetry of loss. The wire transfer had been completed in late October 2023. Sophia, usually so responsive, so eager to share updates on our investments, became distant, her texts sporadic, her calls unanswered. The excuses, at first, were plausible, delivered with a practiced ease that momentarily assuaged my growing anxiety. "Server issues with a major upgrade to handle the increased volume, darling," she'd text, followed by a flurry of emojis. Then, major trading volatility requiring my full attention, literally glued to the screens for days. Or traveling to secure new partnerships with vital, confidential clients in Dubai, no signal but thinking of you. Each explanation bought her more time, each lie a thin veil over the creeping horror. But the frantic knot in my stomach grew tighter with each passing day, a cold, hard lump of dread that made it difficult to eat, to focus, to even breathe normally. The sweet scent of her expensive perfume, a heady blend of rose and sandalwood, once intoxicating, now felt like a phantom, a cruel reminder of her absence, a ghost of a lie that haunted my senses. I drove to her penthouse, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs, a cold sweat dampening my palms, the city traffic a blur outside my car window, its usual drone unheard beneath the roar in my ears. The sleek, modern building, usually bustling with residents and doormen, felt eerily silent, devoid of life. A mausoleum of broken promises. Her apartment door, usually so welcoming, adorned with a delicate seasonal wreath I had bought for her, was firmly shut, a cold, unyielding barrier, locked tight. My repeated knocks echoed in the empty hallway, a desperate, pathetic sound, answered only by the hollow thrum of my own escalating fear. No answer. I tried her phone again. It went straight to voicemail, her digital presence vanishing as completely as her physical one. Her social media accounts, once vibrant with updates on Quantum Ledger and glimpses into her glamorous life, went dark, scrubbed clean, erased from existence as if they had never been. The realization hit me like a physical blow, stripping the air from my lungs, leaving me gasping for breath, clutching at the cold, unyielding doorframe. She was gone. And so was my money. My $800,000, my grandmother's legacy, the foundation of my future, vanished into the ether, swallowed by the void of her disappearance, by the black hole of her deceit. My world, once so vibrant and full of promise, imploded, leaving behind only shattered fragments and a profound, agonizing emptiness, a desolate landscape where dreams once bloomed, now scorched earth. The silence that followed was not just the absence of sound, it was the deafening roar of betrayal, a scream trapped inside my own mind. Heartbreak was the first, suffocating wave, a tidal wave of pain that threatened to drown me, pulling me into a fathomless abyss of despair. But it was quickly followed by a visceral, burning rage, a cleansing fire that consumed the despair, transforming it into a desperate, furious energy. I stumbled back into my own apartment, the once comforting familiarity of my studio now mocking my shattered innocence. Every creative tool a painful reminder of the future I had lost, the brownstone that would never be, the collective that would remain a dream. The scent of my own coffee, usually a source of comfort, now tasted like ashes in my mouth, acrid and bitter, a reflection of the desolation within. I replayed every tender word, every shared laugh, every intimate moment, and each one twisted into a grotesque mockery, a carefully delivered line from a script designed to manipulate, to ensnare. Sophia Thorne, the woman I loved, the woman I was engaged to marry, the brilliant visionary, was a ghost, a phantom, a meticulously crafted lie, a character in a play, not a real person. The shame, the humiliation, burned like acid in my throat, a suffocating weight that threatened to drown me. How could I have been so blind, so foolish, so utterly naive, so easily manipulated by a smile and a few well-placed compliments? My grandmother's last words echoed in my mind, "Build something good with it, something real, something that lasts." And I had handed it all to a con artist, squandered her trust, betrayed her memory. The guilt was a raw, festering wound, contaminating every thought, every memory, every corner of my mind. It clung to me like a shroud, suffocating me with its poisonous whispers of my own culpability. But as despair threatened to consume me, as the walls of my own mind seemed to close in, a small, cold object caught my eye. It lay half-hidden beneath a cushion on my sofa where Sophia had often sat, her head resting against it as we planned our future. Her voice soft with fake endearments. A phone. Not her sleek, expensive smartphone, the one she always had meticulously charged and guarded. This was a cheap, unremarkable burner phone. Its screen dark, its very existence screaming of secrets, a stark contrast to the sophisticated tech she usually flaunted. My fingers trembled as I picked it up, a desperate hope mingled with a chilling dread, surging through me, a premonition of further horror. It was unlocked. A quick swipe, and the screen lit up, revealing a trove of text messages. My eyes scanned them, blurring, then sharpening into horrifying clarity. They weren't to me. They were to someone named Mark. Conversations discussing their score, the perfect mark, me, travel plans to Arizona, the kids. And then a photo. Not of Sophia alone, but of Sophia smiling, her arm around a man I didn't recognize, 2 children grinning beside them. A perfectly normal family tableau, utterly alien to me. The man, a burly, unassuming type, was a stark contrast to the refined intellectual image Sophia had cultivated with me. This wasn't Sophia Thorne, the brilliant crypto investor. This was Sarah Jenkins, a professional con artist, with a husband and children, running a scheme, using my inheritance, to fund her real secret life, her carefully hidden existence. My entire romance was a meticulously planned ambush, a cruel, grotesque pantomime, a performance for my benefit. My heart, already shattered, splintered further, the bitter taste of betrayal overwhelming me, leaving me numb and aching, a hollowness that vibrated through every cell of my body. But beneath the anguish, a new, fierce resolve began to harden. They had taken everything. Now, I would take it back. The phantom investor would no longer haunt my dreams. I would hunt her down. The weeks that followed were a descent into a suffocating, almost hallucinatory reality. I barely ate, barely slept, sustained only by lukewarm coffee and the burning need for answers, for justice. Each sip of the bitter liquid felt like a necessary fuel for the grim task ahead. The apartment, once a haven of creativity and comfort, became a prison, each object a painful reminder of Sophia's deceptive presence, each corner whispering of her lies, her false laughter, her insidious charm. I replayed every interaction, every conversation, searching for clues, for the subtle tells I had missed, the cracks in her facade, the moments when the truth almost broke through. Her evasiveness about her family, her vague stories about a difficult past, her insistence on keeping our relationship private from her few online contacts, all twisted into sinister truths, calculated manipulations designed to keep me isolated, to maintain her carefully constructed narrative. My financial ruin was immediate and absolute. My personal savings, already small after years of supporting myself, and then some unforeseen medical expenses from a minor car accident, were quickly exhausted by the frantic early stages of my personal investigation, by my desperate attempts to find her through online databases and unreliable private search engines. My credit cards maxed out, their limits reached, bills piling on my kitchen counter like an insurmountable mountain, threatening to drown me in debt, in despair. The brownstone in Inman Park, the design collective, all shattered dreams, replaced by a bleak, uncertain future where I worried about making rent. I was facing not just emotional devastation, but utter bankruptcy, complete financial ruin, a fall from grace that felt both humiliating and terrifying. The collateral damage was agonizing, twisting the knife deeper, amplifying the shame. I had, in my excitement and fervent belief in Sophia, urged some close friends and even a distant cousin to invest small amounts in quantum ledger, leveraging my own trust, my own reputation. "She's brilliant, truly revolutionary," I had gushed, blinded by my own delusion. Their panicked calls, their heartbreaking stories of lost savings, a down payment for a house, a child's college fund, a retirement nest egg, their quiet accusations, their disappointed voices twisted the knife deeper, amplifying my guilt, my shame. The profound sense of shame, of having been so thoroughly duped, of having led others into the trap, was a constant, suffocating companion. It was a suffocating weight, making me retreat further into myself, isolating me in my pain. But with each agonizing detail, with each shared story of loss, a cold, unwavering clarity began to form. This wasn't just about my loss. It was about exposing a dangerous predator, about fighting for every victim she had exploited, every life she had shattered. My broken heart began to harden, my grief slowly replaced by a fierce, righteous determination, a burning need for retribution, for justice, for truth. I would not allow her to get away with this, not while others suffered. The shame transformed into resolve, the despair into a grim, unshakable purpose. My initial attempts at finding Sophia Thorne were desperate, haphazard, fueled more by raw emotion than logic, a frantic flailing in the dark. I stalked her defunct social media profiles, scoured crypto forums until my eyes ached, endlessly replayed the fuzzy videos from her fake Quantum Ledger website, searching for any anomaly, any hidden detail, any slip. It was like chasing a ghost, a phantom that danced just out of reach, mocking my efforts, each dead end a fresh stab of frustration. But the burner phone, her careless oversight, was my lifeline, a tangible link to her true identity, a physical piece of undeniable evidence. Its text messages were a goldmine, revealing snippets of her real life, her husband's name, Sarah Jenkins, the names of her 2 children, a son and a daughter, and their intended escape route to Arizona, a precise itinerary of their next deception. This wasn't just a simple vanishing act. This was a well-orchestrated systemic fraud run as a professional family operation, a criminal enterprise. The complexity of it, the sheer audacity, demanded professional help, expertise beyond my own shattered capabilities. I remembered Eleanor Vance, the formidable attorney my colleague Mark had recommended for a different matter months ago, a complex intellectual property dispute that Eleanor had navigated with remarkable skill and an unwavering ethical compass. She was known for her relentless pursuit of justice, a woman whose reputation preceded her, and I decided to reach out, to place my shattered life in her capable hands. Eleanor listened with a professional impassivity that was both unsettling and profoundly reassuring. Her gaze steady, absorbing every detail as I recounted the humiliating saga. Her office, high above the bustling streets of Buckhead, was minimalist yet elegant, a reflection of her focused precision. I laid out the burner phone, its cheap plastic casing a stark contrast to the luxurious facade Sophia had presented. I showed her the damning texts, the screenshots of the vanished Quantum Ledger site, the piecemeal evidence of her elaborate charade. Eleanor didn't judge my naivete. She saw the crime, the profound injustice. "Michael," she stated, her voice crisp, devoid of emotion, but laced with steely conviction, "this is a sophisticated romance scam, a type of affinity fraud designed to exploit trust within a community. And the scale suggests a pattern of similar operations. We need a private investigator and the full force of the federal authorities." She connected me with a private investigator, David Vance, no relation to Eleanor, but a trusted member of her network of justice seekers. A man with a quiet demeanor, but a reputation for relentless pursuit. A former police detective with an uncanny ability to connect disparate facts. And more dauntingly, she initiated contact with the FBI's cybercrime unit. The idea of involving federal agents in my personal heartbreak was overwhelming, intimidating, the bureaucratic maze seeming as daunting as the emotional one. But the scope of Sarah's deceit was clearly beyond local jurisdiction, beyond anything local law enforcement could handle. This wasn't just my fight anymore. It was a federal case, a sprawling criminal enterprise, and I was a key witness, a survivor ready to fight. The transformation from heartbroken victim to determined investigator had begun, a painful but necessary metamorphosis, driven by a raw, burning hunger for truth. The collaboration with David Vance and the FBI's cybercrime unit was a slow, painstaking process, a meticulous reconstruction of a life built on digital shadows and carefully constructed lies. David, the private investigator, focused on the real-world connections, the tangible threads that would lead us to Sarah Jenkins. He used the fragmented information from the burner phone, the names of her children, her husband, the travel plans, to piece together Sarah Jenkins's actual family history. He traced her through old public records in Arizona, finding her husband Mark and identifying their children, a real family behind the fake names and fabricated stories. His relentless digging unearthed a chilling pattern of previous romance scams under different aliases, operating in different states, Florida, California, even a short stint in Texas. Each new victim's story, unearthed through David's relentless efforts, mirrored my own: a lonely professional, a whirlwind romance, a lucrative investment opportunity, followed by a sudden disappearance and financial ruin. This revealed Sarah was not just an opportunistic liar, but a professional con artist, a master of deception, operating with a cold, calculated efficiency. Meanwhile, the FBI cybercrime unit, working with their digital forensics experts, delved into the digital abyss. Their fingers danced across keyboards in a dimly lit forensics lab, their multiple screens filled with lines of complex code, encrypted data, and intricate network diagrams, reconstructing Sarah's hidden digital world, mapping their illicit network. Dr. Anya Sharma, the unit's lead digital forensics expert, proved invaluable. Her brilliance in tracing digital footprints, her ability to unearth hidden data, was unmatched. She uncovered a vast trove of incriminating evidence. The burner phone's call logs were filled with intimate conversations between Sarah and Mark, detailing not just their fraudulent scheme, but also their personal plans. She found text messages planning their escape after the scam climaxed. Discussing fake passports and offshore bank accounts, the chilling details laid bare in stark, digital text, undeniable proof of their conspiracy. More damning were the email exchanges between Sarah and Mark, with a shady contact, detailing the creation of new identities, complete with forged documents, fake social security numbers, and new birth certificates for their children. A whole new persona for the entire family, designed to vanish without a trace. There was even a detailed digital blueprint of their convoluted financial fraud scheme, sketching out how millions of dollars would be laundered through various cryptocurrency mixers and shell corporations, eventually funneled back to them in a tropical paradise, a step-by-step guide to their criminal enterprise. The sheer audacity, the cold, calculating precision of their plan made my stomach clench with renewed nausea, a sickening disbelief, an overwhelming sense of violation. It was a pattern of systematic deception, not a one-off mistake, but a chilling testament to their profound greed and narcissism, a pathological need for control and illicit gain, a complete absence of conscience. The financial impact of the investigation was immediate and crushing. Eleanor's fees, David's costs, Dr. Sharma's expertise, my savings, already strained from my initial desperate searches and Sarah's theft, were rapidly diminishing, threatening my own stability, my ability to survive. I had to take on freelance work late into the night, sacrificing sleep just to keep pace with the mounting legal bills. But each piece of evidence they unearthed, each new detail of Sarah and Mark's monstrous betrayal, fueled my resolve, transforming my heartbreak into an unshakable determination. This wasn't just about getting my money back. It was about exposing a dangerous con artist, about protecting others from her insidious charm, and about reclaiming the truth of my own life, rebuilding it brick by painful brick, restoring my dignity, my shattered sense of self. The fight had become my new anchor. The legal strategy, meticulously crafted by my legal team, led by Eleanor Vance, a formidable attorney specializing in complex fraud cases, was a two-pronged attack, a powerful double-edged sword designed to cut through deceit and expose the truth. First, criminal charges. Wire fraud, grand theft, and identity theft, ensuring Sarah Jenkins and her husband faced the full weight of federal law for their egregious crimes. This would ensure her deception would not go unpunished, that she would face true accountability for every lie she told, every life she damaged. Second, civil lawsuits from multiple victims, including myself, to reclaim stolen funds and seek additional damages for emotional distress, legal fees, and the profound violation they had inflicted upon me, upon my shattered dreams, upon my entire life. Eleanor gathered statements from other victims David had uncovered, building a powerful class action component to the civil suit, demonstrating a clear pattern of criminal behavior. The collaboration with federal law enforcement was seamless, a testament to Eleanor's meticulous preparation and the FBI's dedication. The FBI's cybercrime unit was not just investigating. They were actively preparing for a major operation, their agents working tirelessly, their faces grim with the weight of bringing such sophisticated criminals to justice. Our goal was not just to catch her, but to ensure her intricate plan, her grand escape, would never materialize, that her false paradise would crumble, that her stolen dreams would turn to ash, leaving her with nothing but the cold, hard reality of her crimes. My personal transformation during this phase was profound. A metamorphosis from victim to avenger, from shattered man to gentle warrior. The heartbroken fiancé was gone, replaced by a resolute individual, his grief channeled into a laser-like focus on justice, his pain a powerful fuel driving him forward. I underwent intensive therapy, meticulously processing the complex layers of betrayal, anger, and the existential crisis of my shattered past. It was a painful journey of self-discovery, learning to re-identify myself outside of her lie, outside of her shadow, outside of the deception. My therapist helped me understand the psychology of scammers, the red flags I had missed, not to blame myself, but to learn. I learned to articulate my pain, my outrage, without letting it overwhelm me, to speak my truth with clarity and power, to command my own voice, to own my story, not as a casualty, but as a survivor. Every meeting with my legal team, every review of the damning evidence strengthened my conviction. Sarah Jenkins, Sophia Thorne, had stolen my life, my trust, my peace. She had mocked my deepest desires, weaponized my vulnerabilities, and defiled my grandmother's legacy. Now, I would take back my truth and ensure her carefully constructed facade crumbled to dust, leaving her with nothing but the cold, hard reality of her own making, her own cruel choices, her own self-inflicted ruin. The path ahead was arduous, but for the first time in months, I felt a powerful sense of purpose. The apprehension of Sarah Jenkins and her family was as dramatic as any movie scene. The culmination of months of relentless investigation, a climax to the terrifying narrative that had consumed my life. David Vance's team, working closely with the FBI's International Fraud Unit and the U.S. Marshal Service, had painstakingly traced Sarah Jenkins's digital footprint to a remote, unassuming town in Arizona, a quiet refuge often used by those seeking to disappear, to vanish into anonymity, into a new, untraceable existence. The small, dusty town, miles from any major city, seemed an unlikely hideout for a woman who had once reveled in penthouse luxury. A carefully orchestrated sting operation was set in motion, executed with military precision, with dozens of agents involved, their movements swift and silent. I wasn't there. The FBI insisted on it, for my own safety and to maintain the integrity of the operation. But Eleanor recounted the details to me days later, her voice tinged with grim satisfaction, her words painting a vivid, almost cinematic picture of justice being served. Sarah Jenkins and her husband, Mark, were attempting to liquidate a portion of their ill-gotten gains through a hidden cryptocurrency exchange located in a dilapidated strip mall, its faded sign a stark contrast to the millions they were attempting to move. Their car, a nondescript rental, was parked discreetly outside, just hours away from completing a transaction that would further obscure their tracks, sending the funds into a labyrinth of offshore accounts. FBI agents, alerted by our team's meticulous surveillance, intercepted them as they emerged from the dimly lit exchange, briefcases in hand. The flashing blue and red lights of unmarked vehicles cut through the bright Arizona daylight, illuminating their shocked, terrified faces. The stern faces of federal agents confronted them, their dreams of escape abruptly shattered, their carefully constructed future dissolving before their eyes. Sarah, confronted by the overwhelming evidence laid out before them, the fake IDs, the burner phones, the detailed plan for their multi-million-dollar fraud, the photos of their real family, the email exchanges, initially blustered, denying everything, clinging to her Sophia Thorne identity, her practiced charm failing her, her usual composure dissolving into raw panic. "This is a misunderstanding," she spat, her voice cracking. "You have the wrong person." But when Mark, her husband, pale and trembling, saw the irrefutable proof of their conspiracy, the evidence of his own involvement staring him in the face, he broke. His composure shattered, his loyalty turning on her, a desperate act of self-preservation. He admitted to their escape plan, to their meticulous orchestration of the scam, revealing her full culpability, her monstrous scheme. He laid bare her manipulative charm, her relentless insistence on the fraud, painting her as the true mastermind, the architect of their downfall. His confession was the final nail in the coffin of her elaborate deception. The capture sent a ripple of quiet triumph through our legal team, a sense of earned victory, a profound vindication, a collective sigh of relief that echoed in the quiet of Eleanor's office when she delivered the news. Sarah Jenkins, the woman who had played the role of my loving fiancé, who had orchestrated this elaborate demise of my finances and my trust, was now very much caught and facing the full, brutal reality of her actions, her grand deception utterly exposed, her freedom abruptly ended. The phantom investor was a ghost no more, but a very real prisoner of her own making. The federal trial that followed was a sensation, drawing national attention. A true crime story unfolding live in a federal courtroom in Atlanta, the very city where the deception began. The gallery was packed with reporters, curious onlookers, and dozens of victims eager for every detail, every shred of justice. The media circus was intense, a relentless onslaught of flashing cameras outside the courthouse, their lenses hungry for drama, aggressive questions from reporters, microphones shoved into my face, demanding a soundbite, a reaction. "How does it feel to see her, Mr. Michael? Are you relieved?" I learned to navigate the media storm, giving concise, sober statements that focused on justice and awareness, not sensationalism. I faced Sarah across the courtroom, the physical distance between us feeling impossibly vast, yet the emotional weight of our shared broken history was heavy, palpable, pressing down on me. She was dressed in a conservative suit, a desperate attempt to appear demure and respectable. But her eyes, once so kind, so full of feigned affection, now held a glint of resentment, of desperate fear, devoid of any genuine emotion, reflecting only her cold self-interest. Her husband, Mark, looking years older than his age, his youthful ambition replaced by dread, by the crushing reality of their situation, sat beside her, his face a mask of resigned despair, his gaze often fixed on the floor. My powerful victim impact statement was pivotal, a moment of profound truth, a turning point for the jury. I spoke not with tears, not with histrionics, but with a quiet, searing anger, articulating the profound betrayal of our romance, the agony of discovering her elaborate double life, the cold, calculating cruelty of her crypto fraud scheme, the lies she whispered into my ear, into my heart. I detailed the shattered dreams of the brownstone, the design collective, the existential crisis that followed, the relentless emotional toll, the erosion of my very soul, leaving no detail unsaid, no pain unexpressed. I spoke of my grandmother's legacy and how her sacred trust had been defiled. My voice, though steady, conveyed the depth of the violation, resonating with a quiet power that seemed to hold the courtroom captive. The digital forensics expert, Dr. Anya Sharma, was next, presenting the irrefutable evidence with clinical precision. She displayed the meticulously documented communications between Sarah and Mark, planning the fraud, the fake quantum ledger firm registration documents, the fraudulent investment contracts, the various IP addresses used for their online personas, the financial blueprint for the $4 million payout they had aimed for, all laid out with damning clarity. Her testimony was a masterclass in exposing digital deceit, leaving no room for doubt. Sarah's attempted defense, claiming she was merely a naive figurehead, manipulated by her husband, coerced into participating, crumbled under cross-examination by Eleanor. Her arrogance, once her most charming trait, now became her undoing. As her lies and inconsistencies were exposed one by one, her carefully constructed persona dissolving into pathetic desperation, a broken woman caught in her own web. Mark, her husband, though complicit, provided a tearful testimony against Sarah, detailing her manipulative charm, her grand promises of a life of luxury, her insistence on the fraud, painting her as the true mastermind, the architect of their downfall, seeking to save himself from the full brunt of justice. The jury, visibly moved by the testimonies and the overwhelming evidence, their faces reflecting deep thought and moral outrage, returned a swift, decisive verdict after only a few hours of deliberation. Guilty. The word, clear and resonant from the jury foreman's lips, echoed through the stunned silence of the courtroom, a wave of profound, cleansing relief. A moment of justice so deeply earned it almost brought me to my knees, leaving me momentarily breathless. Tears, hot and heavy, finally streamed down my face. Tears of release, of vindication, of a burden finally lifted. Sarah Jenkins was found guilty on multiple counts of wire fraud, grand theft, and identity theft. She was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison, the judge emphasizing the systematic nature of her crimes and the devastating impact on her victims. A just punishment for her monstrous deceit. Her husband, Mark, found guilty of conspiracy and fraud, received a 4-year prison sentence, a lighter punishment acknowledging his lesser role and cooperation with the prosecution, his misguided love, his vulnerability to Sarah's manipulation. They were jointly ordered to pay $2.5 million in restitution to victims, a significant portion of what they had stolen, but far from the full amount due to the difficulty of recovering all laundered funds, much of which had been spent or hidden too deeply. The public exposure was relentless and absolute. The story became a national phenomenon, covered by true crime documentaries, major news outlets, and cybersecurity exposés, highlighting the insidious dangers of online romance scams and crypto fraud, cementing her infamy. Sarah Jenkins's name became synonymous with deceit, her carefully cultivated online personas irrevocably linked to her criminal reality. I participated in several documentaries, my face a symbol for victims, my story a stark warning, a testament to endurance, transforming my personal agony into a public lesson. The restitution received, approximately $600,000 of my original $800,000, was a partial victory, allowing me to pay off legal fees and begin rebuilding my financial life. It wasn't the full $800,000, the complete restoration of my grandmother's legacy, but it was enough to signify justice, enough to reclaim a piece of that sacred trust, enough to provide a foundation for a new future. Justice, in its long, arduous path, had arrived, restoring a measure of balance to my fractured world, a sense of peace to my scarred soul, a quiet triumph in the face of overwhelming odds. The path to closure was not a swift, easy one, but a complex, ongoing journey of rebuilding and redefining, a slow, often painful, reevaluation of everything I believed, every truth I held dear. The emotional scars remained, a permanent etching on my soul, a reminder of the fragility of trust and the depths of human deceit, a faint, persistent ache that would never fully disappear, but would serve as a quiet lesson, a reminder of strength, of the crucible I had passed through. But they were no longer open wounds. They were fading, healing, becoming a testament to my resilience, to the strength I had found within myself, a testament to survival. The partial recovery of my inheritance, though not the full $800,000, was enough to stabilize my life. It allowed me to pay off all outstanding debts from the investigation and my maxed-out credit cards, secure my retirement savings, and provided a new sense of financial independence, a freedom from the anxieties that had plagued me for so long. It was a solid foundation for my future, for a life lived on my own terms, free from the shadow of predatory manipulation. Therapy became an invaluable tool, an ongoing process of self-discovery, helping me unpack the complex layers of heartbreak, shame, anger, and betrayal. It allowed me to reconcile the loving memories of Sophia with the monstrous reality of Sarah Jenkins, to understand the depth of her pathology, her profound capacity for evil. Through guided introspection and empathetic understanding, I learned to trust my intuition again, to find strength in my vulnerability, to rebuild my identity, not as a victim, but as a survivor, a victor, a man forged in fire, unbowed and unbroken. I learned that while some experiences leave permanent marks, they don't have to define your entire future. The experience, though devastating, had forged a new purpose within me. I couldn't simply move on, knowing others could suffer similar fates, could fall prey to similar deceptions, to charming con artists lurking in the digital shadows. I used a portion of the restitution to establish Scam Watch, a nonprofit organization advocating for victim support and online platform accountability. We developed new public awareness campaigns against romance scams and crypto fraud, particularly targeting vulnerable communities: the elderly, the lonely, those new to digital finance. I became a key speaker, sharing my story at conferences, to tech companies, to law enforcement agencies, ensuring my suffering was not in vain, that my experience could protect others. My voice, once silenced by grief and shame, became a powerful instrument for change, a beacon of hope for others navigating the complex, often treacherous landscape of online relationships and financial trust. I learned that while some wounds never fully disappear, true healing comes from reclaiming your narrative, from fighting for justice, and from transforming your pain into a source of strength and support for others, ensuring that your suffering was not in vain. My future, once so bleak and uncertain, was now mine to shape, built on the solid bedrock of truth, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to a life lived with integrity, a life defined by my own choices, not by her lies, a legacy of enduring strength and renewed purpose, a testament to hope and the enduring power of the human spirit. The studio hummed again, not with the silence of betrayal, but with the quiet, vibrant energy of a new, authentic life.